Hi, fourth graders. All right, so today was a kind of all over the place day because we had testing, and then we had library, and we had some students that had extended time, and we had an error with a where, so we had extra time for that as well. So a lot of things on our agenda. Well, first off, everything on our agenda is the way it is because testing got rescheduled. So I wasn't originally planning on testing today. So that's why Thursday was jam packed. And then we kind of had to shuffle things around today because of weather issues and things like that from last week. Things had to be rescheduled. So it was a little bit all over the place. So what we did was this for, well, let me just start off. So for math, the only part that we got to was the protractor practice. We didn't jump into the book. We just did the practice together as all of us together. So tomorrow, this was a day 1 of 2 type of thing. So we were just going to look at this tomorrow as well. So tomorrow I'll try to get both parts in, and we may not spend as much time in the small group just because we're trying to get caught up a little bit there. So the protractor practice, let me get my protractor here. So with the practice that we did, I used my last sheet of paper. Hold on one sec. All right. So with our protractor, let's see how many pieces of paper I got here. Let me open this up. Get my protractor going the right way. So the first thing we did is we got introduced to the protractor, and here, this circle right here in the middle is where we line up our vertex. We have this baseline here and this baseline here in black, and then we have 2 scales. There's an outer scale, the one on the outside, and it starts on 0 on the left, and it goes all the way around to 180, which is our straight angle. And then we have one on the right where 0 starts, and this is the inner scale, and it goes from 0 all the way around to 180. So when we have an angle, so let me draw an angle on here. When we have an angle, angles can open up different ways. We can have them open up to the right, and we can have them open up to the left. So depending on which way it's opening, you can have angles, or you can have the inner scale and outer scale. So depending on which way your angle goes, your scale kind of depends on that. So this one is opening to the right. So what you do is you take this circle here, and you take this line, and you line it up with what you have. So you slide your protractor on top, and notice the 2 circles need to be lined up together. And then if you look closely, the 2 circles are lined up together, but this bottom line here, my bottom ray, it's not lined up. So I need to kind of rotate this down to where it's flush. Notice the 0 is almost completely it is completely covered by that black line. Now I'm ready to look at where this line is. So I'm going to hold this in place, and my angle here, this is at the 0 degrees. So I am starting here. The 0 degrees is using the inner scale, the one on the inside. So I'm going to start counting. And if you notice, if you zoom in close and you look closely here, notice this is going from a 0 to a 10 to a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Well, if you look here, this hits at 60 degrees, and 120 degrees. That's the two numbers that the top ray hits. Well, remember an angle, an angle measures degrees, and we're measuring the amount of opening here. So if I drew my dotted line straight up, this would be 90 degrees, my right angle. Well, if I'm at 0 and I'm opening, I've gotten here, I haven't gotten to 90 degrees yet. So this angle is a 60-degree angle because this is an acute angle. Okay. So if it was going past, like if it was past the 90, then it would be an obtuse angle. And if it was on that line, it would be a right angle. Okay, so obtuse, right, everything over here is going to be an acute. So this is a 60-degree angle. So we'll get more into practice with how we actually find the number tomorrow. Today, the biggest thing that we did was just practicing taking the protractor, lining it up, and we had protractors that we were using online, just lining it up and practicing getting that vertex lined up with the circle there and this baseline lined up so that it's covering the 0, and then just learning about whether or not we're going to use the inner scale or the outer scale, which is on the outside. Okay, so that was the practice we did for math today. Like I said, this was just the first day, so it was just a kind of a real short introduction because of the busyness of today. In reading, the only part we got to was just the passage here, and this is in Seesaw. So if you go to your activities and you go down to your reading Wednesday through Friday, we read the second story, Celebrating Freedom. And so we talked about this and what kind of genre it is. We noticed that they started talking to us about when President Lincoln ordered all the slaves to be free, how he had to sign a document called the Emancipation Proclamation. And so right away, we're getting these facts and things that happened. So we said that this is a nonfiction passage. And so we continued reading this story, paragraphs 1, 2, and 3 on this page, 4, 5, and 6 on this page. And as we were reading, we were just jotting down what was going on in the story. So over to the side, make sure you have your stop and jot notes where you're recording, because we've read 2 stories now. So we read the first one, and then we read the second one. So we really want to keep track of the different stories and be able to, you know, not have to go back and read the entire thing over, just some little things that, oh yeah, this was what that paragraph was about. So tomorrow we'll look closer at some of the questions and talk about how we can compare. So when you have 2 together, you're comparing, you're talking about how they're similar, how they're different. And so we'll start that tomorrow. All right, then we didn't get to any of this. So I'm going to take this out and we'll work on that for tomorrow. All right, and then we'll try to catch up. We'll try to do the spelling inventories for B and C tomorrow. All right, and then writing, we already did 3 hours of writing, so we didn't work on our writing today. And then we didn't get to science today. And then social studies, some people did, some people didn't. So those that did not, we will catch up tomorrow. Those that if you did, you just went into your social studies and you went to Thursday. And each day's just been 2 questions. So it was in all, how many states seceded from the Union during the Civil War? And then after the Civil War, slaves were set free. What became important to the slaves? So click on your link here and you can listen to that and follow along. And then when you're done, X out of that, because we'll do Friday tomorrow. And then we could probably combine Thursday. These were really short this week because it was we had to do lots of catching up from being out last, so we kept it short this week. So for the writing benchmark, we had our composition here. Everybody's got their what am I trying to say? In Aware, everybody has their test submitted in Aware. For the for the multiplication, or not, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I need to go home. Not multiplication, the multiple choice, everybody has their multiple choice questions submitted. So what's going to happen now is I have all the writings printed. I gave Miss Garcia a copy. I have a copy. We'll go through and we'll rate those, and then we'll add the score so you can get up to 8 points. I can rate it either a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Miss Garcia can do the same. So if you get a 4, the highest, from me and from her, then that would be an added 8 points. And so that gets combined with your multiple choice questions. So that's going to take a while because that's lots of kiddos to read and cover. So I'm guessing the scores are not going to be ready to go until after spring break. So I know lots of you were eager to see how you did. So hang tight, and we'll try to get that out as soon as possible. And I think that is it. Um, I don't know if you could still get into this, but this is the, let me see. Let's see what happens. All right, you might be able to still get into this. So this is what we did to practice. So you go to, here's what we covered. All right, so you go here, you click on it, and you move. We practice moving over and talking about, okay, are we going to use the outer scale or the inner scale? This one would be the inner because this is where 0 is. So you can flip down here on the pages and you can click and you can move your protractors around. And then some of them you have to, you should find one where you would have to adjust. Oh, so this one on page 10. So when you line it up here, notice that that bottom ray is not flush with the 0. So if you click the corners, you can rotate it and get it, try to get it lined up better to where, oops, I need this over here, to where now it's in the right position. So just taking the protractor and practicing how do you manipulate it to where we get it lined up correctly, because this part right here is very important, because if you don't have it lined up perfectly on 0, like let's say I have it lined up and I have it like this, or I don't know, something like that. Well, now it's showing that this is a different number. So you want to make sure you get it on that 0 lined up, and you can see the number of degrees there. So practice with that. So if that link, it worked for me. So if it works for you, awesome. So that's right there. And then make sure if there's anything in here, tomorrow's Friday, so we want to try to wrap up everything by tomorrow. So if there's anything in here that's still green, or in your seesaw when you go to your activities, if you have anything in here, this is from the notes we took. There's still a lot that have not turned in their notes. Go back to yesterday, watch the video for that. The spelling inventory, there's lots that will do that tomorrow. Geometry retest, if you have, and I still need to check them, if you have your retest complete, make sure you have that done. Make sure, I wasn't sending out scores until they were in Aware. So if you just did it on Seesaw and you haven't entered in Aware, make sure you have both. And then tutorials, I'm going to go ahead and archive that, and then we'll finish this up tomorrow. This might get pushed to next week. The writing, we'll work on finishing. Most of you had already done your conclusion, so we'll finish that up. Your reading should have been already turned in. Your math practice should have already been turned in. Reading tests from Unit 4. I've got some that I need to check, retest, make sure you are responding to that. And then everything else is from previous weeks. So make sure you're all caught up, ready to go for tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow won't be so crazy and all over the place. Oh my goodness. So thank you guys for being patient with us today as we were having trouble with Aware. So that was district wide. So I'm glad they were able to get that fixed, and hopefully it wasn't too much of a hiccup. And so I appreciate everybody working so hard on their tests today. So I'm really enjoying as I go through and read your reading. You guys came up with some really great ideas. So thank you for working hard on that, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.